This content is based on facts for educational purposes. We do not intend to defame any company. Logos are omitted for copyright.
All right, let's talk about Apple. We all see the shiny boxes, the beautiful designs. For years, they've been seen as the peak, right? The gold standard. But what if I told you that behind all that polished metal and glass is a system so completely absurd, it's almost a work of art? Well, today, we are pulling back that curtain. We're gonna go from the ridiculously overpriced junk they sell, to their all-out war on you fixing your own stuff, and finally, to the very real human cost they hope you never ever think about. Welcome to Apple's ecosystem of absurdity. And where else could we possibly begin but with Exhibit A in the Hall of Fame of corporate nonsense? The Mac Pro wheels. Yes, I said wheels for your computer. Because, when you spend as much on a computer as you would on a decent car, the first thing you think is, man, I wish I could roll this thing around my office. It's not a product, it's a parody of a product. And how much for these revolutionary circles, you ask? $699. Let that just wash over you. $700 for 4 little wheels? For that kind of money, they should come with a chauffeur. But nope. And here's the best part, the absolute punchline to the whole joke, they don't have locks. So your $50,000 supercomputer could literally just roll away if your floor isn't perfectly level. You cannot make this stuff up. But listen, the wheels, that's just the goofy stuff. That's the appetizer. The real soul-crushing main course is what Apple charges you for the things you actually need, the guts of the machine. Let's talk about something as basic as storage. So on one side, you have Apple's pricing, which I can only assume they come up with by throwing darts at a board covered in ridiculous numbers. And on the other side, you have Planet Earth, the real world, where you can buy an incredibly fast, high-performance SSD for, well, a normal price. This isn't a brand premium, folks. This is a highway robbery in broad daylight. And here's where it just gets insulting. You want to upgrade your Mac to 8 terabytes of storage? You can go buy that part on the open market right now for about $600. Apple's price? $2,800. That's not a markup, that's a ransom note. They're punishing you for actually wanting to use the pro machine you bought. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This isn't some secret only tech nerds know. Everybody sees it. Here's a Reddit user, erupting_locano, great name by the way, who says he got a killer 2 terabyte drive for $140. Apple charges more than triple that for a drive you can't even replace yourself. People aren't stupid, they know a ripoff when they see one. So, okay, they're fleecing you on the hardware, fine. But it's not just the money they take from you, it's the beautiful story they tell you while their hand is in your pocket. And that brings us to their masterwork, the great environmental heist, where saving the planet just happens to make them billions. Oh, you remember this. Back in 2020, Apple stood on a stage and, with a single tear rolling down its cheek, announced it was bravely removing the charging brick from the iPhone box. It was for Mother Earth, for the future. They were saving us all, one missing accessory at a time. So heroic. So what was the reward for this incredible act of corporate sacrifice? Oh, not much. Just a cool $6.5 billion, with a B. Turns out, when you take something out of the box and then force people to buy it separately, you make a boatload of money. The greenest thing about this plan was the cash. And the math behind it is it's pure genius in the most evil way. They save about $35 per phone on parts and shipping. But you still need to charge your phone, right? Well, good news. They will happily sell you that charger for $19. Want headphones? That's another $19. They get to look like environmental heroes while double dipping into your wallet. It's a masterclass. But this whole shell game, it's not just about what's in the box. It's built into the very DNA of the products themselves. And this is where we get to the dark part, where that $1,000 phone in your pocket is literally and deliberately designed to die. Remember Batterygate? That was the moment the mask really slipped. All of a sudden, millions of older iPhones updated their software and immediately became as slow as molasses. Apple said nothing for months until they were caught red-handed. Their excuse was, oh, that's not a bug, it's a feature. A secret feature to protect your battery that they conveniently forgot to mention. It was planned obsolescence, plain and simple, and it cost them over $600 million in fines. So you get caught in a massive global scandal. You pay out hundreds of millions of dollars. You'd think, maybe, just maybe, you'd learn your lesson, right? You'd think they'd stop treating their own customers this way. Oh, you would be so wrong. They didn't stop. They just got sneakier. Enter their new favorite weapon, parts pairing. This is some next-level evil genius stuff. They use software to basically tattoo a serial number on every part, linking it to your specific phone. So if your camera breaks, you can't just take a genuine Apple camera from another identical iPhone and swap it. The phone itself will reject it. The only way it works is if you go to Apple and get their software to bless the repair. And the damage this does is insane. It single-handedly destroys independent repair shops. It forces you back into their repair monopoly, where you have to pay whatever they say. And the e-waste, my God, it creates mountains of electronic waste, because perfectly good, genuine parts are now rendered useless by a line of code. It's a direct attack on the idea that you actually own the thing you bought. And if you think this is some accident or a necessary security feature, don't. It's a deliberate strategy. We know this because Apple has spent millions and millions of dollars lobbying against right-to-repair laws across the country. They are actively paying politicians to make it harder for you to fix your own property. This isn't a bug. It's a war on repair. And that brings us to the end of the line, the part that isn't about clever scams or funny prices. The jokes stop here, because this is about the real human price that is paid to build this trillion-dollar empire. We've all seen this a million times, right? Etched right on the back of your phone. Designed by Apple in California, assembled in China. It sounds so clean, so efficient, but we have to ask the question, what does assembled in China actually mean for the people doing the assembling? Well, according to years of reports from inside these factories, it means working under what's been called military-style management. It means being forbidden from even talking while on the assembly line. It means living in crowded dorms with 8 people packed into a single room. It means working 10 or even 11 days in a row is just normal. It means a culture of excessive and sometimes even unpaid overtime. And this isn't just an abstract problem. This has real, deadly consequences. In 2011, an explosion at a factory making iPads killed 4 people and injured 18 more. The cause? A buildup of flammable dust, a hazard that the factory had been warned about weeks before it happened. The warnings were simply ignored in the rush to hit production targets. Or how about this one? Workers being poisoned by a chemical called N-hexane. It's a neurotoxin. Why would they use it? Because it helped clean the iPhone screens just a few seconds faster than safer alternatives. Just let that sink in for a second. People suffered permanent nerve damage to shave a couple of seconds off a production line, all for a better profit margin. So let's add it all up. Absurdly priced accessories. An environmental program that's really just a profit machine. A deliberate war on your right to repair your own stuff. And all of it built on a supply chain that has a staggering human cost. That is the full picture. That is the complete Apple ecosystem. So the real question isn't what the price is on the sticker, it's whether any of this is actually worth it.